and everything else like that. Toolbars. Good, okay. have tons of pressures. Yep. Oh, it is.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Women of the Word podcast. I'm Lauren Susanto. I'm here with my friend and Bible study teacher, Jen Wilkin. Jen, thanks so much for joining me today. I'm so excited to talk with you about all things Bible study.
Me too, really looking forward to it.
Yay. So the name of this podcast is actually the name of your first book, Women of the Word, which you wrote back in 2014. And that book was all about how women, although it really was for anybody, how they can learn to study the Bible with both their hearts and their minds. And that's what you and I are going to do together today. We're going to explore those topics, how we can know and love the Bible better, and ultimately love the God who wants to. So let's jump in. Jen, can you talk about why you wrote Women of the Word?
Yeah, I was just doing ministry in my local church and was seeing an increased need for studies that were, this is going to sound terrible, but that were just actually getting into the scripture itself.
Yeah.
When I was in my early 20s and had my first child and started finally I wasn't working and had the opportunity to go to my church and attend women's Bible study, and pretty much the entire Bible study diet at that time for the women, at least in the church that I was in, were things that were topical or devotional in nature. And so they were, picking verses from various areas in the scripture and then really telling us what we should think about them. And then our work was to feel feelings around that. And we'll talk about this as we move through the podcast. I'm sure there's a place for devotional and topical studies, but when it's the entire diet that you're getting, you end up with this whole population of women who have been in church in many cases for many years going to something called a Bible study, and they still don't know the Bible. So I was just growing increasingly alarmed about it. I have an English degree. I'm not formally theologically trained, but I couldn't understand why when we came to the Bible, we treated it essentially like a book. We were treating it like something else. And you had this whole group of women in the church. I mean, the church is made up more than 50% of the church is female, right? But women's discipleship, this is a little bit of an umbrella issue that was associated with women's discipleship, was rarely viewed as part of a holistic Christian formation strategy. It was just kind of over to the side doing its own thing.
Yeah.
So, that was kind of where things were when I started thinking about this issue and started trying to write my own content to come up with a method that was going to actually teach literacy skills.
Yeah, that makes sense. Now, anybody who's heard you speak or write or talk at a conference has probably heard you talk about Bible literacy and your heart for Bible literacy. So can you just talk a little bit about what Bible literacy is and why you're so passionate about it?
Yeah, I do like to distinguish. Sometimes people will say biblical literacy, and that's not a terrible term, but it's not precise enough for me because a lot of times you have people who have some form of biblical literacy in the sense that they might know some content that's in the Bible, or idea, they might know some doctrine or things like that. But Bible literacy is simply having a book of the Bible in a language that you can understand and you're growing toward mastery of it. And by mastery, it just means you know how to read it the way that it was intended to be read.
Yeah.
And so that's a big missing piece for a lot of people. They have this book that they're staking their lives on, but in a lot of cases they've just taken someone else's word for what it says.
So from your perspective, what is the state of Bible literacy in the church today?
Well, I think since 2014, I would say we've seen some improvement, which is really gratifying. And I'm not saying that that's just because of Women of the Word by any stretch, but I think there are more voices out there. I don't know if we have reached a tipping point, at least in women's circles, where women were hungry for more. And I don't mean to remove the debt that we owe to organizations like BSF and CBS and Precept who have done this kind of work for a long, long time. But there was not just a general sense in women's circles, at least, of wow, I don't know how to read this thing. And it was I called it sort of the dirty little secret that we were all keeping and no one wanted to admit. And so I think you hear more conversation around Bible literacy. I think there are more resources out there for women at varying levels that are helping them build Bible literacy than there were in 2014. But I think that it is such a big problem, and it lives as a subset of a literacy problem in our society that we will be fighting this fight for years to come.
Do you think it's something that today, I know you said it's gotten a little bit better than in the past, but comparatively to a few generations ago, do you think we're better off than we were then, or has it gotten worse over the last 20, 30 years?
Oh, over the last 20 or 30 years, I think it's certainly gotten worse. Yeah, I mean, it's not just biblical literacy that's dropped, it's theological literacy as well. We're seeing that in all of our markers. And I think you look around, I'm very sensitive toward the deconstruction conversation. People who are deconstructing their faith, I don't look on that with anger or disgust or anything. I have a ton of compassion for people who are walking through that process. But when I hear the questions they're wrestling with, I hear you wrestling with a faith that I don't know that you were ever given. I don't know that you ever were given your Bible and shown. This is how you can look for these answers on your own. And I don't mean in isolation, but I mean if we don't have that first layer of first-hand knowledge of the text, then it's no wonder that when we hear an idea that we have dissonance with, that we think I'm the first person in human history who's ever had this soul-sucking question, and I'm going to have to jettison everything in order to reconcile the way that I feel. And so I do think that we're seeing that in a lot of those deconstruction conversations, and I think Bible literacy is a big start toward helping someone recognize, oh, I have a historic faith, I have a faith that I can really lean into. And so I think there's that piece with regard to deconstruction, but then I also think when you see just the fractiousness in Christian circles around the Bible, sometimes I think people think my end game with Bible literacy is if we all knew how to read it better, we would all agree. And that's actually not what I think. I do think that around orthodoxy, right, things that are in that spiritual orthodoxy, that we would have more clarity and less fighting. But all of those secondary and tertiary issues, I don't actually think that if we all get more literate, we'll agree on them. I think we will disagree far more charitably than we do now. So we recognize our own place in this and our own perspective
So Jen, how did you first catch a vision for Bible literacy? Who in your life kind of set an example for you about that?
Well, I grew up in a home that was filled with books and reading, and then went off and studied English, and so I knew how to read books in general, and then began to feel a distance between the way that you would read just any book and the way that we read the scriptures. Now, obviously, the Bible is more than a book, but it is a book, right?
Yeah.
And so I had started into women's Bible study spaces in these topical or devotional rooms, and they were meeting a need of some kind, but they weren't necessarily growing people in their knowledge of the scriptures the way that I had exposure to. Even as a kid, we were in a Bible church for a period of time, and our junior high Bible study was doing basically line by line Bible study. So I knew it was a thing. I hadn't seen it in a while, and then I was invited to an inductive Bible study, and I got into that room, and I was like, oh my gosh, these are my people, because inductive Bible study is essentially just taking literacy tools that you would use with any book and then using them to address the Bible at a literature level, not just at a literature level, but at least at a literature level. And so I began to wonder, why were there only 20 women in this inductive space, and then there were 200 in this other space? And I couldn't figure out why, where all of these really great tools were, was all of the energy in this other space, and isn't there a way for these two rooms to talk to each other, to have a common shared space, a space where the tools are being given to students, and then the evident love for teaching and the really hard-hitting application is all connecting. And at least in the church that I was in, there were not any overlaps there, so I started trying to write and teach for a middle space.
So do you think that there's anybody who would get a pass on Bible literacy, or do you think Bible literacy is really just for everybody?
Well, I have to say I have seen it at every level. You work in publishing, you know how books get all the way through the publishing cycle with so many different eyes on them, and things get out into the world where verses are used out of context, or passages are misquoted. I mean, it could be anything. People take a story and use it however they want.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and so and then I've done a ton of traveling around and teaching on this, and one of the things that I'll do sometimes when I do a session is I give everybody a pop quiz over 20 just basic factual questions in the Bible. So it's not interpretation or application. It's just like what kind of animal did Balaam ride, which that's actually the gimme question in all of it. And people can't do it.
Yeah.
And they feel that sinking feeling. And I'm talking about people at Christian conferences with seminary degrees, people who are in local churches. I think that because we have such access to things that are Bible adjacent, many of us have lost a habit of actually spending time in the Bible, making meditation just on the words that are there.
Yeah.
I think it's everywhere.
Yeah, I see that even a lot just in my own church and with my own friends. It's easier almost to recommend a book or
absolutely.
a podcast to listen to about the Bible rather than actually getting into the Bible for themselves. So yeah, I understand that too. What would you say maybe to those people who think like it's easier to read a book about the Bible, or I like this person or this author, so I'm going to listen to this podcast, and getting into the Bible feels like really intimidating to me? What would you say to the person that feels intimidated by just the prospect of Bible literacy or studying the Bible for themselves?
Well, I think it is intimidating, especially if you don't have any sense of where to start, which is what Women of the Word was written to help people with, to give them a starting point. But I do think that people don't recognize that you can't possibly read with any level of personal discernment if you don't have that underlying knowledge of the Scripture, and that all of these things are about are helpful. Not all of them, but many of them are helpful, but they're not foundational. And not only that, but they are assuming that you have a foundational understanding of the Scriptures if they are wanting to be truly beneficial. But then even, this is kind of scary, some of them are actually relying on you not having a foundational understanding, because they can tell you whatever their interpretation is, and you're going to take their word for it.
Yeah, you don't know either way.
For people who think, I can't do this, that's one of my main missions. Expert-amateur divide, that the expert stands on a platform or is on a podcast or authors a book and tells you things, and you receive them. You're the amateur, you sit in the pews. And for many of us, this is the way that Sunday morning plays out.
Yeah,
Each week,
right.
we come and we sit and we receive teaching of a passage that we've spent very little time in ourselves, if any, before we hear the sermon preached.
Yeah.
And it's a passive learning environment. And when we get to the end of hearing that sermon, we don't think, oh, now I understand this passage better and I can just get through it on my own. We think, that's amazing. How did that expert put that together? And so what Bible literacy does is it pulls back the curtain and says, hey, we actually want you to know how this person did the work that they did, because we're all called to be disciples who make disciples. And so, really, so much of the conversation around Bible literacy from my perspective is to be able to faithfully fulfill the Great Commission that has been forgotten for 30 or 40 years. And that's the word of make disciples and teach them to observe all that he commanded. So the work of being a disciple is the business of learning. The work of being a discipler is the business of instructing others.
Yeah, and it kind of gives people a little bit of the bigger picture. It's not just Bible literacy for your quiet times, but it impacts your discipleship with your friends and coworkers, and within church and church members. It's not just kind of what you do for yourself too.
And you really mentioned you've alluded to what I think are two of the biggest challenges that we're facing in the church today. I've started calling them I's that we need to gouge out, because they both start with an I. And the first one is individualism. In other words, and this is very deep in the quiet time ethos. It's me, the Lord, and my Bible. That's the sweet sauce. That's the most important time I can spend interacting with the Scriptures. And then the instant gratification piece is me, the Lord, and my Bible, and I need what I need from it right now.
Right.
And that's those are symptomatic of the broader culture that is telling us that it's my personal experience of it and my feelings in the moment that are defining whether something is of value or not. So a lot of the work that requires to be done around Bible literacy in the church is to restore to us delayed gratification and a sense that the Bible, while it is written for me, it's really foundational written for us. It's understood it.
Yeah, and then that there's effort that goes into to that. There's work that it's not just I can read the Bible and immediately get everything from the 5 minutes that I've read, or we'll talk about that in other episodes too. Just the desire to maybe want to read the Bible to feel better, solve a problem, find help for something. But I think that's also kind of a challenge for people too. Is I just want to go to the Bible, read what I need to read, get my quiet time, check it off the list, move on with my life, kind of thing, and that's not building a lot of healthy habits.
Yeah.
So what would you say to the person who thinks, Jen, I'm just not cut out for this. I just don't think this is something that I can do.
Yeah, well, usually that's rooted in some past negative experience in which they felt, like they were not capable, or they felt shame or embarrassment around the way that they had tried to interact with the Bible. And it's true that we all have varying levels of ability to understand. I mean, some of us do have a greater aptitude. Some of us have, learning challenges that we're up against. But we have a little phrase, my friends and I, where we say the Bible is for everyone, and that's true. The Bible is for everyone. To the extent that you have the ability to understand it, you should try, because the Lord has given that to us as a gift. And so there are good access points, and sometimes we were never sort of brought in through the front door, and so we feel like we don't know why we feel so clunky at it. And it's really a confidence builder over time if you start with basic tools that really are accessible to just about anyone, and then learn how to use them well. 2 Timothy 2:15, most people in this space would know that verse, that we're to do our best to present ourselves as workers who understand, as those who understand how to rightly handle the Scriptures. That's a call on the life of every follower of Christ, I believe. And so we can know that to whatever extent we do have the ability, that we should pursue that. And I think for many of us, we don't even know know what the extent of our ability would be because we may have had an initial first experience in which we did feel dumb or inadequate. So a lot of this, I want women to have tools. I want people to have tools for reading the scripture, but I also want them to have confidence that they can do the work.
Jen, have you personally ever been in that position where you think, oh, I don't even know if I know what I'm doing?
Yeah, I still feel that way.
Yeah.
Honestly, I hope it comes across in my teaching and in the way that I'm talking about the Bible. I really do consider myself, and I think a lot of teachers do I consider myself a co-learner. And that doesn't mean that I don't know that I've had more time or more experience. I do know that, but I always think that the one who's teaching is usually the one who maybe had just a little more natural curiosity to keep pushing through, where someone else might have said, oh, I don't know. To me, that's probably the definition of a teaching gift, is just this, you had more of a natural curiosity to keep pressing when you hit that first barrier. That honestly, every time I start a new book of the Bible, it feels like climbing a mountain. It does, and I just think there's no way that I'm going to be able to get through it all, and then you start to get into it, and you realize, oh, the goal is not mastery. Like, it's about incremental gains, right? Incremental gains across a long timeline, and that's every bit as freeing for me as it is for the person who's contemplating this for the first time. Nobody has to be an expert. You can come and learn basic tools so that we can be co-learners, disciples walking this road together.
What are a few maybe practical steps that people can start taking today? If they're listening to this and they're thinking, I don't feel like I have a great grasp of my own Bible literacy, what are some really practical things people can do today to start improving that in their own lives?
The simplest first step is, I think it sounds so simple that people think that can't possibly be useful, but the most underutilized and helpful tool in building better literacy is repetitive reading. And repetitive reading of an entire book of the Bible from start to finish. And so, there's value to different paces of reading the scripture. Maybe people have done a Bible reading plan, which is fantastic. It gives you, that's a sprint. And then the Bible literacy piece, while a Bible reading plan is an aspect of building literacy, what I have focused on more with the space that I'm in is the marathon approach. It's pick a book, stay in it, and really just spend enough time until it gets under your skin. Not to where you necessarily understand every single piece of it or know exactly what to do with all of it, but you know what it says. And repetitive reading is an indispensable. It's the first step, and it's an indispensable step in growing more familiar with this book that honestly we're staking our lives on. And it's amazing how little of it takes before you begin to hear some of the things you were consuming. You begin to realize, I think that's pulled out of context, or that's actually not what that verse says. Someone is sort of paraphrasing something like that, and you may not but that's actually a really encouraging moment when you begin to realize that your awareness is being heightened, and you're growing more discerning in the things that you're hearing. We talked a little about how I started creating resources to address Bible literacy, but really my why in all of this is because I grew up in about 7 different denominations. I talked about it a little bit, and when you know that there's always someone standing behind a pulpit or using the same book but teaching very different things, that's a little alarming. And not only that, in my own family, my immediate family, false teaching took a hold with my mom. I ended up in the Word Faith movement for a number of years, and she had a chronic health issue. And so you can imagine when you have a loved one who felt that seeking medical attention was an act of faithlessness and was dealing with a medical issue that needed to be treated. When I say that false teaching is dangerous, I don't just mean spiritually dangerous, although it certainly is that. In the case of my own family, it was physically dangerous, and which is the emotional and spiritual dangers associated with being told if you are ill, it's your fault. And if things go well for you, it's because you've done things well, right? It's Christian karma. Right. And so when I think about people knowing the scriptures firsthand and being able to rightly divide and hear something really critically about it, it's intensely practical for me. It's not just an intellectual exercise at all.
Thinking back over your experience as a Bible study teacher, how has the Lord grown your understanding of His Word as you've taken time to really get into it and study it for yourself?
Well, I think like a lot of Christians, I had spent a fair amount of time in the New Testament, but the Old Testament felt scary and weird to me. And I knew intellectually that the God of the New Testament and the God of the Old Testament were the same, but I wasn't sure I could have proven it to you if I had to, by taking you to the Old Testament. And so I've had the opportunity to teach through Genesis, Exodus, Joshua, Judges, 1 Kings. I've spent a fair amount of time in the last 10 or 15 years in Old Testament books, Proverbs and Psalms, and the way that my understanding of the New Testament has just exploded, which makes sense. We know that we need the Old Testament to understand the New Testament, but I have lived through the curve at this point. I continue to, I'm sure, for as long as the Lord gives me life. But I'm working now on the study of Revelation, and I am seeing just increasingly so many Christians think that book is off limits to them. If there's any book in the Bible that we need someone else to tell us what it means, it's that one, right? But all of the years that I've gotten to spend in these Old Testament books are yielding up this fruit where I'm able to see the connections, not all of them, but more than I would have 15 years ago, right? Which is that idea of incremental gains. And then I get excited about if I've got this much more understanding now, how much more will I have 10 years from now if I keep putting deposits into this? And so, for me personally, my excitement and joy has grown as my ability to see this ground as I've gotten better at seeing through the lenses, those Old Testament, New Testament, Old Testament lenses, the way that we're written by the authors to me, right?
Yeah, oh, that's awesome. What encouragement, and hopefully encouragement for other people that they know that they can also do this too. There's a lot of really exciting benefits. The Lord blesses our efforts as we take time to learn His Word. So, is there anything else you would say about, you kind of touched on this a little bit, about why Bible literacy is worth the effort? Some people could be thinking, that sounds like a lot of work to me. What other encouragement would you give people of why it's worth the effort?
It is a lot of work. Yeah. It's the joyful work of a lifetime. And I think that, we think about the Christian life as one of sacrifice, right? Like when we come to faith, we expect that it's going to mean we're going to use our money differently. It might be costly in terms of the way that we spend our time serving others. When we read the words of Jesus to take up our cross and follow Him, it conjures a lot of images of self-sacrifice and discipline. But when we think about the scriptures, for some reason, we don't associate any costliness with being able to understand what's in them. Yeah. In fact, it's always fascinating to me to see how people respond to current forms of media, current mediums that are giving the gospel story. So TV shows or movies. Sure. And there will be this sort of wave of energy among the Christian community of like, oh my gosh, it's finally going to happen. This movie's going to come out, or this TV series, and then everyone is going to finally understand what the good news of Jesus Christ is. They're going to see it. And you can hear how we're unintentionally or unconsciously privileging a medium to say, this is what ignorance, we're not going to for all of these people know is for us to be able to do something else so that people can understand. But the reality is that the eternal words of God were given to us as words in a book. That is how He chose to do this. He could have revealed truth to us any way. He hasn't been sitting on His hands for 2,000 years waiting for someone to develop the camera, which is not to diminish that some of those things that are created are beautiful and helpful, and maybe the first point where someone does hear and understand the gospel. But the everyday walk of a Christian is one of discipline. That's a disciple and discipline. Those words are related to each other. So we should expect that this is going to be a discipline for us as well, a really good and beneficial one. And really, there's nothing that we've ever undertaken in our lives that was of value that we didn't start out feeling like we were not good at, and then over time, as we returned and kept honing that skill, we got better at it. And then began to derive not just benefit but joy from the work.
that's awesome. I think that's a great call to action, great place to cap off our discussion for today, and really set us up for the rest of the episodes that we're going to be talking about after this. So thanks so much, Jen. And thanks again for joining us for the Women of the Word podcast. Tune in next week where Jen's going to share some of the craziest excuses she's heard about why someone comes to study unprepared, and we'll also look at overcoming some common barriers to Bible study. If you enjoyed this conversation, please make sure to subscribe so you don't miss an episode, and we'll see you all here again next week.
What makes the difference between a story and a legend? Is it the cruelty of its villains, or the bravery of its heroes? Is it companionship, friendships forged against overwhelming odds? Or the story of a struggle that changes the flow of time? After the details have faded into dreams, what will we remember? Ultimately, it's the tales that capture our hearts and give us reason to hope. When the bravery of the world is greater than the forces of evil combined, that is when legends are born.
We got a huge update for Pinball FX, including 2 free tables. Our fan favorite Sorcerer's Lair and Fishtales, the classic Williams table. We're bringing in brand new tables like Crypt of the Necrodancer, the long-awaited Twilight Zone, the epic Godzilla vs. Kong Pinball Pack, and finally, Marvel Pinball Collection 2. So download Pinball FX and launch the ball.
capital YT. No, I know. I'm talking to Rain. I think that's his. It's only Zaps YT, so it has to be. Bro, these kids are such spammers, bro. You don't think it's him? It's not him? Damn, I don't know who. What did you channel is? Because that's the only Zaps YT. Rain said it's not him. ZAPPZ? Okay. Well, this is probably weird. Is he white? No way, this is him. Okay, search up ZAPS space YT. His first reel is literally a white boy. I swear if this is him, I'm gonna end it. I'm gonna end it all. It's like an M with like a crown at the top. That's not him. Yeah. It's not? Okay, I was like, bro, no way. Bro, did you see what he did? Bro licked his lips and bit his lip. I'm like, oh nah. Bro, I actually just wanna, my eyes are bleeding right now. Wait, I think this is him. No, it's not. Does he post anymore? Like, hello? PS4? And he posts Fortnite content? Sure his name is Zaps YT? I know. Oh, like ZAPZ? Yeah, I don't know. I don't see it, bro. Unless he has 1,000 followers, I don't see it. Okay. Hold on. Oh, wait, this is him. He plays on PS4. Okay, search up just ZAPZ. It's like a grumpy like cat profile. Yes, it's for he just posted a day ago a Fortnite montage. Yes, it is. Yes, bro, he does. Rain, do you see it?
What?
Wait, that's him? Quality is so bad I can't even see his username.
It was at this moment that he knew.
Bro, how is that not him, bro? Wanna explain that to me, buddy? How is this not him? Rain said that his Zaps dash YT lol. What? No, that he's saying. Is that his username? Because no, hold on. Gabe, I'm not talking to Rainy. So hold on, just talk to me. Okay, so Gabe said that name that I just gave you is from this YouTube channel, Zaps, with 1,000 subscribers. So, it's not? Rain said it's not him. No, it's a ZAPZ. He literally has all Fortnite content and he's on PS4. How the hell do you know that? I don't see no Roblox content. Okay, 5 months ago, my boy. 5.
Here it is.
No way, bro. This guy clipped saying, look in chat and you will see Steak responded. Okay. So is this ZAPZ or is it ZAPZ white tea? Right? How do you not know your own friend's
Yeah, I
channel?
got it.
Oh,
No.
it's not?
David's not called back.
Okay.
What about that? Yeah.
I think I found him, Gabe. Yo, Rain, I think I found him. Yeah. Okay, so he's playing with another kid named It's Nitro, or I love you Nitro. Another guy named Miles 2 Playa. Zaps. It's just ZAPZ. He's playing on NA West, and he streamed 2 months ago. Yes, PS4. Just a Z with like a marble background. Marble. What? Yeah, capital Z and then APZ. And that's it. And he has 29 subscribers.
Yeah.
Nah, his friends are saying the N-word, bro. He's probably not him. No, his friends. His name is SMD Zaps. You know his username? So how do you know it's not him then? Like, what? What are you saying right now? ZAPPZ DYT used to be his username. Yeah, whenever I search that up, it comes up with some other shit. She loves Zax? What? I did. Yo, call me and Gabe on Discord. That way we can talk together. Yo, Gabe. I'm gonna mute you, okay? Yo. Hello? Yeah, hello? Try to be there on every tournament, bro. It's gonna get really hard, bro. Like, you need to realize when you're not there, that messes it up for us too. Well, yeah, of course it is Saturday. But we really need you, but it would really help if you could be there on other days too. No, luckily they're not, usually the tournaments aren't until the end of the day, but... No. By the way, Ray. Bro, just listen to your dad and worry about it in 5 minutes. 6. Yes, church. Yes, church. Closest one we have is Sunday. No, Sunday. It's a 0 code trio victory cash cup. Yes, and the first one bro, listen to me. Okay, the first one starts 2 to 4. If we win that, we get into qualifying, which is 5 to 6. And listen to me. Listen to me. Bro, listen to me. Okay, and all we have to do, you actually, holy shit, you can't make any, bro, honestly, I'm not lying, bro, you can't make any free time, we're gonna, bro, can you actually make it there or not? Okay, now listen to me. Listen, bro. If all we have to do to get $300 is get 1 win. Alright, first of all, stop cussing, bro. Like, stop cussing. Stop.
Hey.
It's gonna get you in more trouble. Just relax, deep breaths, you're not getting replaced as long as you show up in the tournaments, okay? We gotta show up on Friday, 9 o'clock p.m. to whoop those kids' arses. Don't make your dad's life hell, please, bro. Just please. minis. I should give it to you. Fuck. Shit. They really said, bro, they want to wager for $5. Bro, $5? $5 is crazy. Bunch of broke kids. $5, yeah, they gotta be broke. I think you got more money than them. You get a launch or not? Well, you get a launch or not? Ah, we're back. We're gonna win. And I guess we'll have to carry. Yeah, you want this? Yup. Why does your mic keep cutting out? I think it's just your brother's ass cheek. That's it. Bitch. Thanks for taking my ammo.
Like him and me. Or him, you and me. Within. Yep. Are they TNT dropping? Okay, this is one. Thank you. Go right on top.
Oh my god, bro. Third party? Holy shit, bro. These kids are actually mad third party right now.
Wow, what?
Nice. Another one's right here. On me, on me, on me. It's cracked. Yes. Oh yeah, they're third parties, third parties. I'm in here and I got mad heals. Is there another one coming over here? There's one more, there's still one more. Down here. Right here, he's right here. He's outside here. Yeah, right there.
I'm collecting nothing. I just go to see my card.
You're so fucking bad.
If you're if you summon.
This kid is straight asshole.
Yeah, got it.
Big facts. Big facts. Big snacks. Big snacks.
Good job.
Big cracks. Alright, I'll be right back.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. How did I get him off? I can tell it was for this. I'm trying. I'm doing my fastest. I think I'm just doing a skybase here. Just long skybase. Thank you. Okay. I think they came and got you. Oh, can you guess where they're at now? Respond. Still respond. Seriously, I was thinking about this with 0 HP and you still
I'm back.
Oh, wow. I was expecting them to do that. Ooh, you see the street fighter? And you see me like coming right after him? Was. Started with before the after first. Okay, I was starting. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay, you're good, Ben? Okay. Yeah. You notice anybody like this? Okay, there you go. I see something come with it. That's good. Okay, so I will operate this phone right on this side. Wow.
Oh my bad, here you go.
That was horrible. Okay. I can't tell what this move is. Considering it's on there. Okay. Is what it will. Okay. Easy toss. I'll just play, so that's great. Ooh. Great. Here's my fireball. Okay. I got hit. You're starting now.
Going clear?
Thanks. Okay, give me the fireball. Okay, that's not fireball. I have to pick up this one.
I can hold the rest of the tokens. What just happened over here? So what do you have here? Pick up these chests real quick.
Yeah, I knocked him off.
cracked?
I think
Let me know. There you know.
Okay, let's just cover that. Yeah, go for it. All else goes now. Your call. It's up to you.
You up top, dumbass. Alright. Okay, I'm gonna with this.
What? Motion up. Okay, fireball. Moving on, just in case.
Oh my god, no way I can't build.
Wait, did you make that jump? That jump. I don't think this time. Yeah, that should be. That's in process. Yep, go for it.
I'm missing all my shots right now. Bro. This gets me so annoying.
That's easy, wait, yeah, this way. Hey, first advantage sword. And glitch in the block. I think. Yep, I saw it now coming. I knew it.
No way, bro. This gets so fucking weird. Ah, this bro.
Okay, come, fireball towards you. Flip it off. Double check. Might grab two. Then I can come. Yeah. Yeah. Close it. Fireball. Fireball. I don't spot explosions. Full on explosions. That's how I got it. Huh? Can we go get? How much? Okay, I'm out. Ooh. Wait a minute, should I take care of her? No. That's okay. Okay, one coming. One going. Wait, those points are still there. Guaranteed.